Yeah, good evening all. So before I start, can everyone please confirm whether my voice is audible, whether my screen is visible or not?
Yes.
And thank you. So today just I'll be entering into the Python technicals, data types and variables. Data types and variables. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Data represented using data types and variables. Operations represented, right? Functions. Data using data types or variables. Operations using functions. Every organization, for example, take example of a bank. Bank has got data and bank has got operations. Means bank has got customers and employees, right? Customers data, right? Like customer name, customer address, branch, balance, operations like deposit operation, withdraw operation, transfer operations, right? And they are represented, data represented using data types and variables, operations by using functions, operations using functions. For example, if you are comparing the data types, other programming languages, right? C or C++, C or C++ or Java. We talk about C or C++ or Java. Comparison with Python, right? Yes. Python supports dynamic data types. It supports what? Dynamic data types. Python supports dynamic data types.
Disclosed area.
Dynamic data types, right? Yes. In other programming language like C or C++, any query was asked? Yes. So if you got any query, you can unmute yourself and ask your query. Otherwise, you can just type in the chat. Yes. If you want to define a variable like x equal to 10, compulsory we need to say int x. Y equal to 4.5, compulsory we need to say like a float y. Z equal to anything in quotes HELLO, right? We need to say like string. So without this data type defining, you cannot create this variable x. Without this data type, you cannot create this y. Without this, you cannot create this z. Compulsory, this data type defining is compulsory. But in Python, directly you can say x as 10. Directly you can say y as 4.5. Y as 4.5. Z equal to hello. No need to define this data types, right? But here, what kind of variable x is? What kind of variable x is means? What kind of variable x is means what data type you have defined here? If you are defining integer, it is integer variable created. What kind of variable y is means? Based on this data type defining, we are saying y as float type. What kind of variable z is means based upon this data type defining, you are saying it as string type. You are saying it as a string type. Okay. X has 10. But here in Python, no need to define these data types. What value you are assigning to X based on the value assigned, based on the value assigned, right? The variable X is going to get created dynamically based on the value assigned. So if you are assigning a integer value, integer variable is created. X is a integer variable. So in Python, there is a function called type. Type of X. Type of X is integer. Why it is integer? Because you assigned a integer value. You assigned a integer value to X. Type of Y. Type of Y is float type. Why it is float? Because you have assigned a float value. Based upon what value you are assigning. Based on the value assigned, the variables are created dynamically. Type of Z. Type of Z is what type? String type. It's string type, right? Yes. Type of X is integer. Type of Y is float. Type of Z is string. Based upon what value you are assigning, based on the value assigned, the variables are creating dynamically, right? Here I'm going to discuss 4 cases to make you understand much better about this, right? I'm going to discuss 4 cases here, right? Case 1, observe this case 1. What happens internally when we define some data types in Python, right? Yes. Whenever you say x equal to 10, whenever you say x equal to 10, an object with a value 10, an object with value 10 is going to get created. It is going to have some address. The address is given to X. Whenever you are saying X equal to 10, an object created with value 10, it is going to occupy, it is going to be stored in some memory location address. That address is taken by X. What X is storing? What X stores? Don't say X is storing 10. X stores this address. So 3 things you need to understand here. Whenever you say print X, print the X value, it goes to this address, and whatever present at that address, it is going to print. Means what is that? Prints the content at that address. Prints the content at that address. What is that? 10. Simply saying printing the content of X. If I want to print the address where exactly it is stored, ID of X, prints the address of X, prints the address of X. What is the address of X? Where exactly it is stored? 103070. And the type of X. What is the type of X? Prints the data type of X. Prints the data type of X. What is the data type? Integer, because what value you have assigned to this? Integer value. So type of X will be into 3 things you need to understand: printing the content, printing the address, and printing the type. What type? Integer type. Address, where exactly it is stored. Here I have taken some, but where exactly it is stored in the memory, that memory address is going to print. Content is 10. This is case 1. Now observe this case 2. Hmm. Observe here. X value is 10. Y is 20. Now, everyone try to unmute yourself and try to give the responses, whether the answers are correct or wrong. How many objects are created here? Yes.
Two objects.
Yes, 2 objects are created. Everyone. For 10, 1 object. For 20, another object. So it is going to occupy some address. it is going to have its address. This address is taken by X. This address is taken by Y. Now try to respond. Print X. What is X value?
10.
Yeah, print X means it prints the content. It goes to this address and prints the content, whatever present at that address. Print ID function in the built-in ID of X. What it prints?
103270.
103070, right? Yes. Type of X. What is the data type? What
Int.
value you have assigned to it?
Integer.
Yes,
Int.
integer. That's why it takes
Integer.
integer. So that's why we call them as dynamic data types in Python. Based upon what value you are assigning, it is going to that that variable is going to get created. Now try to say print y.
20.
20 the content. Yes. Print address ID of y
104090.
104090.
104090. Print type of y. Type of y is what type?
Int.
Int.
Integer type, right? Yes. Understand here, two different variables x and y with the two different values 10, 20. Then two different objects with the two different addresses. Two different variables with the two different values, then two different objects with the two different addresses are going to get created, right? Yes. Case 2. Now observe this case 3. X is 10, y, x and y. Now try to answer how many objects are going to get created? Everyone.
2 objects.
Everyone, try to respond. How many objects?
One
2
object.
objects.
One object.
1 or 2?
2.
1.
2.
1.
2 object.
So observe carefully here, everyone. Only one object is going to get created here. First, x equal to 10, one object created. This address given to x. That's fine. Now, before creating object for y value also 10. So before creating object for y, it checks any object with value 10 if already available in the memory. If available, the same address will be given to y. One more object with value 10 is not going to be created. X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10. Don't think like 3 objects with 10, 10, 10 will be created in the memory. Only already available, the same address will be given to X, Y, and Z. Means what is your observation here? X, Y, and Z, they are sharing the same content 10. They are sharing the same address, right? Same content and the address. For example, if X is a 10, if Y is a 20, and Z is 30, how many objects are created in that case?
2 objects.
X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30.
3
Then
objects.
3 objects.
3 objects will be created. Means what is your observation? If the contents are different, multiple objects, if the contents are same, 10, 10, 10, only one object, right? Means here X, Y, Z, they are sharing the same content in the address. I can say in this way, right? Print X, print Y, and print Z. Print X, print Y, and print Z. It is going to be 10. Print address of X, address of Y, address of Z. The same address, right? 103070. Type of X, type of Y, and type of Z. Type of X, type of Y, and type of Z. What type? Integer type. Okay. Now observe this case 4. X value is 10. X is 20. Here not X and Y. Not X and Y. I have taken X and X only. How many objects?
2 objects.
2 objects will be created. For 10, 1 object. For 20, 1 more object with value 20. It's some address. That address given to this. Now, up to here it's fine. But whenever I say print X, what is the X value it is going to print? What is the X value it is going to print?
Latest value.
Latest
The
value.
latest value 20, right? Always it prints the latest value. Address also, right? ID of X.
104090.
04090. Type of X. Type
Int.
of X. What? Int type.
Int.
Now here that's fine. But is it okay? If I second time if I execute print X, it will print 20. Third time also print X 20. Fourth time also it prints 20. Is there any possibility to print the value 10? What happens to the previous object? What happens to the previous object? Is it available or not available, right? To just to know what happened to the previous object 10, there is a small concept we need to discuss, right? But it is too early to discuss that. But later I discuss in brief with multiple example. But as of now, I'll give overview of it. Garbage collector. To know what happened to the previous object X equal to 10. I'll go back to this case 3. What is that? Garbage collector. We have got a topic called garbage collector in Python. Garbage collector. What is garbage collector? Removes. The name itself saying, right? Removes unused or unreferred objects. Unreferred objects from the memory. Removes unused or unreferred objects from the memory. You may ask, what do you mean by unused or unreferred objects? What do you mean by unused or unreferred objects? How can an object be unused or unreferred means? Objects whose reference count becomes 0. Object whose reference count becomes 0. We call those objects as unused or unreferred objects. Objects whose reference count becomes 0, we call them as unused or unreferred. Then immediately these objects gets removed. Then immediately these objects gets removed from the memory. Immediately these objects gets removed from the memory. By the garbage collector. Automatically, right? So objects whose reference count becomes 0, then immediately these objects gets removed from the memory by the garbage collector auto. You may ask, what is reference count and how it becomes 0? Reference count. Reference count nothing but number of variables. Number of variables pointing to an object. Pointing to an object gives the reference count. Or I'll show you with some example. Number of variables storing address of an object. Number of variables storing address of an object. Here, X is storing this address, Y is storing this address, Z also storing the same address, right? So what is the reference count? How many variables are storing the address of this object? 3 variables. How many variables are pointing to this object? X is pointing to this object, Y also pointing to the same, Z also pointing to the object, right? Understood what is reference count? Number of variables pointing to an object or number of variables storing address. X is storing the same object address, Y also storing the same, Z also reference count is. Now you may ask how this reference count becomes 0 and how that object gets removed. Slowly I'll modify the Y value to 20. Slowly I'm modifying the Y value to 20. A new object to 20 is created with some new address. This address is taken by Y. Now Y is made to point to the new object. Y is not pointing to this. Y is not pointing to this old object. Y is pointing to the new object. What is the reference count now of this object 10? What is the reference count of this object 10? How many variables are pointing now?
2.
Now 2 variables only are pointing, X and Z. Y is pointing to the new object. Now slowly I'm modifying the Z value also to 30. A new object 30 is created. That address taken by Z. Now Z is made to point to the new object. Now Z is not pointing to this. See, they can point to only one variable. Z is not pointing to this. Now, what is the reference count now? Only how many variables are pointing? Only X is pointing now. So what is the reference count?
1.
Hello. Reference count is 1. Previously, 3 variables were pointing. Now only one X is pointing to this. Why they are pointing to different objects. Now slowly I'll modify the X value also to 50. So that becomes 50 on 09 some address. Whenever you are modifying the X value to 50, a new object created and that address is taken by this. Now X is pointing to the new object. X is not pointing to this. Now no variable is pointing to this, right? What is the reference count?
0.
0, right? Reference count is 0. No variable is pointing to this object 10. Previously, 3 variables used to point slowly. The 3 variables are pointing to 3 different objects. Now it is unused object, unreferred object. Any object reference count becomes 0. Immediately, garbage collector removes this object from the memory. Understood, everyone?
Yes.
How this object gets removed, when it gets removed, how the reference count becomes 0, what is reference count, what is garbage collector. Just it's an overview, right? Later I discuss in brief with multiple examples. Based on this understanding, go back to case 4. Go back to case 4, right? Yes. Any query you got, anyone in this case 3? Any query in case 3, anyone?
So what is the memory we called where X and 10 are get saved? What is the name of the memories is X and get and 10 are saved? Yes.
X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10 you are talking?
Yeah. So what exactly the name of these memories? Like where the X is gets saved and 10. How the reference will happen between these two?
X is 10, Y is 10, you're talking. So whenever you are defining any variable, right? So that value, when you provide value in Python, compulsorily we should provide some value. If you're not providing the value, then the variable X won't be created, because this variable X creations depend on this value only. What kind of variable I need to create depends upon what value you are assigning. So the 10 value, right, it will be stored in the memory address. Right? That memory address, where exactly it is stored. If you want to know that, right, we use ID function. Okay, fine. And if you want to know the type, we use type function. Come back to this case 4, right? Okay. Now, what is the, forget about this X equal to 20 for a while. What is the reference count of this object? What is the reference count of this object? 10. How many variables are
One.
pointed?
One.
1. Slowly you modified that X equal to 20. Now X is made to point to the new object. Now X is not pointing to this. Reference count becomes what? 0. No object is pointing to this object at 10. It is unused or unreferred. Immediately garbage collector removes this object from the memory. X equal to 20, right? Always it prints X is 20, print X, type of X. Understood, right? So I was just asking you a query, what happens to the previous object to 10? It gets removed from the memory. Okay. Understood is 4 cases, everyone. Right? Case 1, printing the content, printing the address, where exactly it is stored, printing the type. Case 2, 2 different variables, 10 and 20, with 2 different objects, with 2 different addresses. Case 3, if X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10, only one object, only one address. Case 4, X and X, the previous X gets removed, the new X will be available, can print its content, its address and type. Now I'll just show you these things practically, right? Yes, just I'll show you all these things practically. So we can just, in the search panel, in the search type IDLE, you get Python 3.12, right? Yes, click it. Here, file, it is interactive mode, but I want to work with batch mode. File, new file, you say, right? Okay, fine. Case 1, see, this is comment in Python. Comment means it's not executable. Just for understanding what is the program for. Case 1, defining a variable. Now first X equal to 10. What is print X? It prints the content to 10. The address ID function, address of X, where exactly it is stored in that memory. Type of X. Type of X, what data type, right? So file, save it. Save. So I created a separate folder, right, for this Python. Eight PM, right? Into 1.py. Yes. Now check this. Run module. X is 10. See this. X value 10. The address, yes. Ashutosh, any query you got? Mahapatra, Ashutosh Mahapatra, right? Yes. Address of X, where exactly it is stored. Type of X is what type? Into type. Print X10, address where exactly it is stored. Type of X is into type. What you're not understood, Ashutosh Mahapatra. Just I define some value for X. To print this value, print X. To print the address where exactly it is stored in the memory, right? Whenever you store a movie file, a video file, it stores in that memory, right? It's going to occupy. So here also this 10, where exactly it is stored, the address and what type it is. Integer value. Case 1. Case 2. Observe this case 2. File, new file. Okay. I'm pasting here. Case 2. What is case 2? Two different variables X and Y with two different values 10, 20, two different objects with two different addresses. So defining two different variables. If you got any queries, you ask, I'll provide multiple examples, right? This is important. You cannot see what happening internally, right? This is what happens internally when you define some values in Python. Defining two different variables with two different values. Then two different objects gets created. What you are not understood, Ashutosh? Can you unmute yourself and try to speak? Everyone, any query in this? Just printing X equal to 10, print X, address of X, and type of X. Okay. Defining two different variables, X as 10, Y as 20. Okay. Two different variables. Defining two different variables, right? Yes. With two different values, 10, 20. Then two different objects will be created in the memory. Gets created. Defining two different variables with two different values. Then two different objects gets created with two different addresses. Okay. X is 10, Y is 20. Print the X means 10 it prints. The address where exactly it is stored in the memory, that address it will print. Type of X is what? Integer type. Print Y. Type of Y. Address of Y. Can you please answer everyone? The address of X and address of Y, is it going to be the same or different? Address of X and address of Y.
Different.
It has to be different, right? Because different values, different objects, different addresses will be created. Now check this. File, save it, enter. Any name with the .py extension, yes. Print X 10, print Y 20. Address of X, where exactly it is stored? type of this address of y, where exactly this 20 is stored, type of x, integer, type of y also integer.
Ah.
Now,
Run.
run module. Here check 10 and 20, two different values, two different addresses because the contents are different, integer type. Case 3, I'm copying the same. I'll copy the same, right. Case 3, observe series diagram. X value 10, Y value 10, Z value 10. Only one object will be created and its address will be given to 10. This address will be given to Y and Z. Only 3 tens won't be created.
Oh, yes.
Control A, Control C. I'm copying the same to this case 3. Case 3. Defining two different variables, X and Y. Okay. I'm defining two different variables, X and Y, with same values. With same values. Okay, same values means 10 and 10. Okay. Then how many objects? Two different variables with same values. Then
One object.
only one object gets created. Only one object. And its address is returned to both. Now try to answer everyone. Address of X and address of Y, is it going to be the same or different?
Same.
It has to be same, right? It has to be same. First save it. Now execute it. Run address of X and Y because same content. The address is same or not? Content is same. Address is same. Type also same. Because X is 10, Y also 10. Same content, same address, same type. Case 4. Now, observe this case 4. Defining two variables. Two variables with same name. Same name means X and here also X. Two variables with same name but with different values. But with different values. X has 10 and X has 20. Then how many objects?
Two
Two
objects.
Two different objects gets created. And the previous one gets removed. Address print X means always it prints 20. Address of X means the address of this where exactly it is stored. And type of X means integer type. Save it. Okay. Print it will print 20, the address of 20 and the type of 20. Any queries in these 4 cases, anyone? Clear to all? Hello?
Yes, yes.
So I want the system to be more interactive, right? Everyone. Try to
Just one question.
Yes.
Address value, the storage of address value is permanent or temporary? Let's say, for example,
temporary.
temporary. If PC got rebooted, address value will get changed.
Yes.
Okay.
In the previous program, this program, if you say existent, in the previous existent, they won't have the same address. Okay. Now, in the case 4, I have got one. In case 3, I have got one query. 10 and 10, right? 10.0 if I give. The address of X and the address of Y, will it be same?
Different.
Here type of Y is what type? Type of Y is what type? Float.
Float.
Type of X is integer. Means here integer object created. Here float object is created. Two different objects. Right? So the address will be different. 10 and 10.0 are not same, right? 10 is integer, 10.0 is float, means something in decimals. So the address also different. Two different objects are created, right? Yes. Okay. Now observe this. Coming to this data types. Data types mainly are of two types. Data types mainly are of two types. Fundamental data types, understand this, fundamental data types, yes. And collection data types. Fundamental data types and collection data types. Fundamental data type. Object to holding single value. Observe here, object to holding single value. Object holding single value. Right? Example, x equal to 10. One object is created with value 10. It is going to have its address 10, some address. The address is taken, is given to x. Means here, object to holding single value. Right? It's fundamental. Object to holding single value. And collection data type, the name itself saying collection of values, group of values, set of values, right? Object to holding group of values. Example, x equal to within the square bracket 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, multiple values. Here also one object will be created, but the object will hold multiple values or group of values in this way. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Going to have address. The address is given to x. Okay. So here object holding multiple values. Object holding group of values. Object holding single value means fundamental. Object holding group of values means collection. Okay, simple. Now, what are the various fundamental types and what are the various? I'll just take 5 minutes more. 1 second. File, new file. Every time say new file. Fundamental data types, yes. Mainly are of 5 types. Fundamental data types mainly are of 5 types. Integer. Second is like float. Please be in mute. Boolean. Integer, right? Yes. Age 25. Age something in integer value, right? Age 25. float. Height 6.4. Something in decimal format, right? Boolean, which returns either true or false. Which returns either true or false. String. Okay. Something in double quotes, right? Sequence collection of characters. City equal to Hyderabad, right? City equal to Hyderabad. Sequence collection of characters. Integer, right? This is float in decimals. Boolean means Boolean values 0 or 1. 0 means false, 1 means true. String, sequence collection of characters. Sequence collection of characters, right? Complex in general mathematics, you should have seen complex numbers, real and imaginary, a plus ib. This real and this is imaginary. This instead of in Python, instead of 5, we use the symbol j here for a complex number. I'll discuss these things, right? Now, coming to this collection types, collection data types. Collection data types, right? Mainly are of 4 types. 4 types of collections. First, like list, tuple, set, dictionary. List tuples, list represented using squared bracket, list represented using squared bracket, a tuple represented using normal braces, set represented using curly braces, dictionary by using a key value, right? Yes. List squared bracket tuple. By seeing the braces only should identify what type of collection. Squared means list. This is tuple. This is set. Key and value means, for example, name Ajay, age 25. This name is the key, Ajay is the value. Key value, right? Collection of key values. Key value. This is key. This is value. Key value representations. List of values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Tuple of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Set of values 100, 200. Set of values, right? In this way, collection data types 4 times, fundamental types 5 times. So we have got a lot of discussion on these collections. List properties, list indexing, list functions, list methods, list addresses, list slicing, list modifications, nested list, right? Similarly for tuples, tuple properties, tuple indexing, tuple slicing, tuple functions, tuple addresses, right? Similarly for sets and dictionaries. In the case of fundamental type, we have got a lot of discussion on this string there. String indexing, string slicing, string functions, string methods, string special characters, brackets. Okay, fine. Any queries you have got anyone as part of today's session? Right, I can see in the chart panel, right? If anyone, if you have missed the yesterday's session, right? You can check in that demo videos, a link is given in that the videos will be available, the previous session videos, and you can see the course content, right? Python and the Python full stack course content, and the payment details it is given in the chart, right, by the online team. 6,000 is for Python, 12,000 is for the Python total full stack, right? Python full stack. Okay, fine. So here 70 hours, right? The duration of this Python core and advanced is 70 hours. So yes. So, and for this Python full stack, total Python, right? Total Python package, Python full stack with using these frameworks. Two frameworks I'll be discussing, mainly Django framework, Flask framework. And apart from that, I'll provide knowledge on UI technologies, REST APIs, database, the project, right? So totally that also takes 70 hours. Where you will get the recorded videos, right? Yes. Tomorrow you people can attend the session, right? But from day after tomorrow, the link is going to change. Tomorrow you people can attend the session, more discussion on this technical. I'll be discussing tomorrow technical programming. From day after tomorrow, the link is going to change. You are supposed to get enrolled. From day after tomorrow, you will be getting the video to your Google Drive. Every day, one video will be added to your Google Drive. It's you can only play and watch it if it's not downloadable. And class notes, every classroom notes, right? You are going to whatever I'm discussing in the classroom notes you'll be getting, right? And a WhatsApp group day after tomorrow, a WhatsApp group, everyone will be added to that WhatsApp. If you get any error, you can take the snap of it and you can post in the group, and you can debate in the group about that. I'll be answering that. If anybody get any error, I'll be answering that. Assignments and tasks will be provided, as I said. Daily it's 1 hour. The class will be daily for 1 hour, right? Sometimes whenever I'm free on Saturdays, I'll be taking. Sometimes at the last, if I'm running out of time, right? So otherwise, sometimes on Saturdays, I'll be taking some 2 hours in this way to compensate, right? Yes. Daily 1 hour time. Yes, Reena Roth. It is same timing, 8 p.m. IST timing, right? It's you can see that the course content, right? In brief, in depth, we'll be discussing about all those, including many modules related to different environments, Python basics, Python operations, operators in Python, IDEs, control statements, looping statements, strings, collections, lists, tuples, sets, dictionaries, functions in Python, modules in Python, packages in Python, errors and exceptions, file handling, object-oriented programming concepts, regular expressions, database connectivity, Python data and time, operating system, right? Advanced concepts like iterator, generator, closer, decorators, web scraping, working with CSV, XML, JSON files. Graphic programming, Excel workbook, data analytics, and introduction to data science, Pandas model in brief, NumPy model in brief, and Matplotlib model in brief. That is Python, right? These 30 topics in brief about Python current ones. And who go for Python full stack, Django framework. So the Django, like 15 to 20 applications creations will be seeing, right? Advanced concepts and also UI technologies like HTML, CSS, and even JavaScript will be discussed, and a database like MySQL. And one more framework like what is that? Flask framework and REST API, right? So tomorrow everyone can attend. Any queries you have got? Anyone as part of today's session? Still anyone? Tomorrow, same time at 8 o'clock, using the same link you can attend, but from day after tomorrow it changes. So meet you tomorrow, same time, everyone. Thank you all for your attending.
Yeah, one question. One question
Yes.
regarding timing, sir.
Yes, yes.
So it is not going to, you are not going to move beyond 9 o'clock, right?
Yes, yes. 9 o'clock, I have another session.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Fine. Okay. So I'm stopping here. Fine. Good night.